Hey everybody, MrAyrit here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a review for you today of a product that I was pretty darn excited about, and that is the iFi Go Blu. So this is just a little kind of Bluetooth DAC amp device, and I'm a big fan of these little devices just because they're convenient and they improve the sound quality typically over what you get out of your typical smartphone, iPad, computer, things like that. So they're a pretty accessible piece of gear that's easy to use and bring with you. And when I saw iFi was releasing a new one, I was pretty pumped about it because my favorite portable device at this point in time, or at least until this came out, is the iFi XCAN, which is a Bluetooth amp as well. And this displaced the Mojo for me just because I appreciated the convenience of Bluetooth. So now the question is can this little guy displace this one? And that's what we're going to get into today. So before I get into this device, let me just give you a little bit of a disclosure here, right? iFi did send this out for review. They didn't ask or influence my opinion in any way, but they did send it to me for free for review. I will be sending it back to them, just so you know that going into this review. So let's talk build, right? And what comes in the box first. So of course you got the unit itself here. It's got kind of this brushed bronze finish on it, which I think is kind of nice. It's a little bit different. You've got a volume wheel here. We'll talk more about that here in a second. This is also like a button as well, like a multifunction button. You got one button on this side and one button in the center over here to turn it on. Now, as far, for inputs or outputs, I guess, you've got a 3.5 single-ended, and then you've got a 4.4, not a 2.5, is for balance, which I appreciate because here's just if you're unfamiliar, right? Here's a let me get this set up for you. Right, you got a 2.5 over here and a 4.4. And the 2.5, I just always feel like it's such a flimsy little connection. I just don't like it. I like having the 4.4 better, and I think I just wasn't expecting that because this thing is so tiny, but I like that about it. USB-C on the bottom for charging. The one thing that this is glaringly lacking, in my opinion, is a clip. So this side by side, here's the Fiio BTR5, and you can see that it's got, it doesn't come with this clip attached, but you can slip this little clip on it. And I think for devices like this, especially one being this small, which this is probably about the same size as a ES100, having a little clip that you can just like kind of clip on your collar or in your pocket or something like that, I think that's pretty handy to have. So I'm a little disappointed they don't have that here. Button placement on this is really good. My biggest complaint about the ES100 was that the buttons were on the same spot on each side of it. So like when you were trying to squeeze it to push one button, you would end up accidentally pushing another, and it just wasn't a great user experience like with the interface for that. So I like this setup much better. Now, I was pretty excited when I saw that it had like a nice big volume knob, and it feels great. Like this volume knob just feels really, really nice. Big downside though, big bummer, is that it is a digital volume control. So it is not an analog volume control, despite what some of the marketing material says. This just digitally controls the volume on your phone, and not for me, right? I would much prefer to have an analog volume control. Both my XCAN here and even just the buttons on the BTR5, these are analog volume control. So these do not change the volume output coming out of your phone. They change the volume of the device, and that's a big distinction because the iFi changes the volume of your device. So I don't feel like, I'm not super pleased with the way it works. It feels good, but when it comes to interacting with like your device, it seems fairly like unresponsive. So like you can click it really like, like we can sit here and I can spin this really fast, but like in the reality, like each one of those spins, even though there's like 5 clicks, is it's going to turn your volume down like 1 notch. It just doesn't feel good to use, and that's a bummer because I thought it was going to be a great analog volume control, and it just isn't. So that was a disappointment for me. What else do you get with it? Not a whole lot, right? You get a little USB-C cable, and then you get this, I don't know, I suppose it's kind of a nice little leather carrying pouch, although I don't know that I'd ever use this thing. I'd much prefer to just have a clip that I could just clip it on something, but that's what it comes with. And that's kind of the build of it. So all in all, I would say quality-wise, where does it land? It feels decently built. I would say it's probably a step above the ES100 in build quality. I don't know. I still feel like the BTR5 is maybe put together a little bit better than it, and I just enjoy interacting with this device a little bit more because it has an analog audio controller, volume control on it. I feel like everything worked okay for me with the Go Blu, but again, just that wheel being a digital volume control, I don't know, it just kind of ruined the experience for me, to be perfectly honest with you. So I really wish, I think that was a missed opportunity. That should have been analog. I don't know why they chose to just go digital with that, but I wish they wouldn't have. One other note as far as like using it is just has all the latest greatest Bluetooth codecs and all that stuff, and Bluetooth 5.1 and things like that, and it does connect very, very quickly. I only use it with iOS device, so I only used AAC. I didn't use LDAC or anything like that, but connection was quick. However, when I had it in one pocket of my pants and I had my phone in the other pocket, I even got like some cutouts even with that little distance. So the connection like isn't super strong, and I couldn't make that happen with any sort of consistency, but it did happen on several different using this device occasions. So I don't know. I never had that happen with the ES100 or with the BTR5 or with my XCAN. Like losing connection at that short distance, never had that happen, but it happened several times with the Go Blu. So that's something to note. Okay, sound. What we all want to know. Well, I've got these 3 devices here on the desk because I thought we'd talk about how they kind of compare to each other. So my favorite, and you can go back and watch, I kind of did a little shootout between portable stuff here not too long ago, but the XCAN has been my go-to here, and this displaced my Mojo. The Mojo I thought sounded better than this, but I was willing to trade a little bit of sound quality for a little bit more convenience with Bluetooth. So that was my use case, and I've been using this fairly regularly. Okay, the BTR5 I've had for a long time. I thought this to me was a nicer build, and it sounded better than the ES100. And I did a little shootout between those, so you can go check that out. But long story short, I like the BTR5 better than the ES100. So where does this guy come into all this? And I would say it sits. For sound quality wise, I would say it sits firmly in the middle of these 2. Now, that some people would see that as a good thing, right? You've got obviously this little device is small, it's quite portable, it's got the latest Bluetooth and all that, and it's about half the size of the BTR5. So this, I do think, sounds a bit crisper, a bit clearer. It defines space a little bit better. Has better controlled bass. I think it outshines the BTR5 in most categories, I would say, audio quality wise. The issue is that this guy, for me, comes off a little bit edgy, a little bit sharp, and it kind of feels a little over sharpened, or it's just got a little bit more bite on the top end than I would like, and in the upper middle frequencies. So, but it does have really good detail, and it presents space really well, and the bass is really well controlled on this. And, it's got the iFi, the X bass, which is this multifunction button right here. Like if you push it once, you turn on X bass, you push it twice, you turn on X space. And then you push it another time and it turns them all on, and then you can push it again and turn it all off. I am not a heavy user of any of those features, but I did think that out of any iFi device that I've used, I feel like the X bass on this was the best because it was a little more subtle. I just think the bass sounds really good out of this little guy here. In the sense space is really good, but it is a little edgy. It does have a little bit of bite to it. So in that regard, I feel like the BTR5 is a little bit of an easier listen, even though when I switch from the Go Blu to the BTR5, I do feel like I'm missing out on that sense of space and separation between things, and I do miss the clarity and the detail when I switch to the BTR5. So the problem is the BTR5 has been around the block a little while, and brand new, it's, maybe like $110, and you can get them used now for easily, $75-80, okay? Well, Go Blu, you're talking a $200 device here in this little guy. And at that price, you can start looking at the XCAN, because I think I bought mine for, I don't know, it was right around $200, maybe even a little bit less. And this guy, kind of how I feel like the Go Blu outshines the BTR5 in just about all audio categories, I feel like the XCAN also outshines the Go Blu in just about every category. So even though this guy is a little bit bigger, I do think the sound quality is worth it, is worth sacrificing, the space in your pocket or whatever it would be for you. So the XCAN is wider. It's better resolving than the Go Blu. I don't think there's really any question about that. But more than those two things is it's just a smoother, easier to listen to device. So it just sounds, you get all the, I feel like you get all the pluses of the Go Blu over the BTR5, the sense of space, the detail, the clarity, but you get it in just a smoother, better resolving package. And I am not willing to sacrifice those things to go down to the convenience of this little guy here. So yeah, for me, I guess the Go Blu, the one thing that I feel like it does have over the XCAN is the bass on this guy is just it's so clean and tight and well controlled. I really enjoyed that. That was definitely my standout sound feature of this little guy here. But for me, ultimately, I feel like the Go Blu ended up being a little bit of a disappointment, because what was going through my head is, wow, iFi is going to release a new little, Bluetooth DAC amp. It's got to be pretty good, right? I had the hip DAC. I like that. I've got the XCAN. I like that. And I was going like, maybe if they have the XCAN sound in a smaller, more convenient package, that'd be a done deal, right? That'd be an easy decision to make. Unfortunately, I don't feel that way about it, and I feel like the XCAN is just a better sounding device, and it's got, an analog volume control on the wheel, which is what I think it should be. And so the user experience, I just think is better all around on this, even though it's larger. So I went into this really wanting to love the Go Blu, and I just don't. I think it's a good first attempt at a little Bluetooth DAC amp from iFi, but ultimately I expected more out of it, just because I've been, I think iFi normally does a really good job with the stuff that they release, and I think normally they really are competitive in the market. I think if this thing would have came out at $100, there'd be a much stronger argument for it. I think for $200, for double the BTR5, or if you're talking an ES100, you're talking probably about 4 times the price of a used one. I don't know. I think it's a tough sell, personally. I think it's a tough sell. So just so you know, testing on this guy, I tested the Harmonic Dyne Zeus. I tested with the OG Nighthawks. I tested with the first gen MMX 300 Beyerdynamic, and the Moondrop Starfield. So those were my testing headphones with this guy, and I found my listening results to be pretty consistent across all of those. So for me, the iFi Go Blu, it's a pass, right? I again, iFi sent this out to me. I didn't purchase it, but I will not be purchasing one for myself. Now, I think if you've got an ES100 or a BTR5 and like this, like you need this small little portable package, I think there's a case to be made for the Go Blu in that regard, because I do feel like this thing is a little bit more refined in its sound than those other two devices. And, it's still a small, convenient little package. So if you need something like this, is it worth the $200, like the extra over those other devices? Well, maybe if you don't mind having a little bit of a bite, you like a little more engaging, a little more forward sound, maybe this guy could be for you. For me, I use my portable DAC amp. I use it mostly in the evenings. I'm trying to relax. I'm trying to chill out. So I don't want an edge to my music at that point in time, right? It's not like a fully engaged, like on the edge of my seat listening experience for me at that point in time. I'm just more of a sit back, chill out kind of listening mode at that point in time. So for me, Go Blu kind of missed its mark a little bit, and that was, I wasn't expecting that. So I do thank iFi, for sending it out. I appreciate them letting me give it a shot, and being one of the first people to give it a shot. So thank you. I do appreciate it. I hope the next iFi device I get hits the mark for me. I think that's going to do it. Questions, comments, alternative opinions, drop them down below. If there's something you think I missed, let me know about it. I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. I do appreciate you stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one. So thanks.